What's happening, guys? It's your girl Mina. Welcome back to my channel. Guys, it's been a minute. Big up to everybody in the chat as always. Thank you for not unsubscribing from my channel. I streamed in about, I think it's been 2 weeks. I think it's been about 2 weeks that I've not streamed. As some of you lot may know, I've been away. I've been in Saudi Arabia, if you follow me on social media, but I'm back now. I'm back. And boy, so much has happened, guys, whilst I've been away that I actually I've been keeping up with stuff, but I haven't really been keeping up with stuff because I've been away, for other reasons. If you guys know, then you know. But I was able to catch up with the Manchester United and Man City game that happened to be on the day that I was traveling back to the UK, so I missed it. But I caught up with it, and then obviously caught up with a lot of stuff throughout last week. So I know, guys, we got a lot to talk about, and obviously we are playing Newcastle later this evening in about an hour and a half time, or an hour and 45 minutes. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Obviously, we'll react to the lineup. I can't believe, guys. Firstly, big up to everyone in the chat. Shout out to everyone. Like I said, thank you lot for not unsubscribing, because 2 weeks without a stream is a bit of a madness. That's a bit of a madness. But guys, I can't believe I've come back, and I'm seeing everywhere Erik ten Hag out. Now, am I delusional for not being on the Ten Hag out thing? I do have questions. And, if you guys remember in the streams a few weeks ago, I had questions then. But I think it's a bit wild to be Ten Hag out so sudden, especially only because it's 16 months into his tenure at Manchester United. So to already be Ten Hag out, to me, it's a bit unusual. Big up to everyone in the chat as always. Shout out to Troy. Big up to Ricardo. Shout out Koala says Spider-Man. I've been enjoying the Spider-Man game. Was meant to actually stream it, and then my capture card just stopped working. So now I need to get a new one. But of course, big up Lil Yo-Yo in the chat. Lil Yo-Yo says people are reactionary, of course, and they have a right to be Ten Hag out, but I'm not. I think everyone's entitled to be Ten Hag out or thing. I just don't want it to get toxic. That's it. I don't want it to get toxic. And you guys know that toxicity that I'm talking about. We've seen it with prior managers. I'm just wondering that if this is how Manchester United are always going to be, where it's like a year of a good season followed by, struggles for a couple of months, manager out, cycle starts again, then are we ever going to really see progress? However, I don't think Ten Hag really helps himself with some of the comments that he made post-game, especially against Manchester City. He made some questionable ones. At least he was a bit honest about the fact that he did not make the right changes. And obviously, I think if we look particularly, guys, at possibly how many games are we into the season? We're like 10 games into the season now. Has there really been a game in the Premier League? Now, don't talk to me about Palace in the Cup. Premier League games, Premier League performances. I can't really think of a game that United have played well the entirety of the game, or even like a majority of the game, 75, 80 minutes of the game. I don't see it. I think Rasmus Højlund, all of these moves that he's making, no service in the box. It's kind of frustrating. I'm not gonna lie. For me, I've lost my patience. If there's anyone that I've lost my patience with, it's definitely not Erik ten Hag. It's more so Bruno Fernandes. I've lost my patience with him. He's very frustrating to watch. And I think my issue with Ten Hag is that this style of football that he wants to play, he raised the interesting point basically after, I think it was after the City game, where he was saying that he didn't come here to play the Ajax style. Because this is not Ajax. And I kind of understand that, but you were brought in to play your style of football that you implemented at Ajax. So the football that you were playing at Ajax was not the Ajax style of football. That was your style of football, because you left and that style of football did not exist anymore with Ajax, because you were the manager that implemented that. You were brought in to implement that style of football into the club. For you to abandon it straight away because whether it's the players are unable to execute it, whether the players are not the right players for that kind of style of football. I mean, you're the one that brought those players in. You're the one that brought the likes of, Anthony, Casemiro. Even though people say Casemiro is not a Ten Hag signing, he still got brought in. he still got brought in under Ten Hag, and Ten Hag still, if what I would say is, if Ten Hag did not bring in Casemiro, and he was not a Casemiro, and Casemiro wasn't his signing, yeah, he would do exactly what the likes of Conte did at Spurs when the Spurs board brought in players that the manager didn't want. He would not play them, but instead he chooses to play them all the time. He chooses to play Casemiro, which is why I believe Casemiro was a signing that he wanted. Obviously, we know he wanted Frankie de Jong that summer. For me, it's funny that we went from being linked to Frankie de Jong to then getting Casemiro, two completely different types of players. But if Casemiro truly wasn't Ten Hag's player, he would not play him. I think it's as simple as that. So that's why I'm saying Casemiro is his player. Mount is his player. Obviously, Højlund. There's a lot of people in this team that are his own signings. So for him to say that he cannot play the style of football that, you know, he was playing at Ajax because he does not have the players, but you've spent 400 million in 2 windows. Where has that 400 million gone? Has it gone to players that are clearly not made for that style of football that you want to play? And if that's not the style of football that you want to play, what is the style of football? What is it? And I think everyone's entitled to have a lot of questions. Big up to Aura Explorer, says can't do Ajax football without a full infrastructure that feeds into it. 100%. And I think Ajax is not just their style of football, but their infrastructure is very much built on, you know, nurturing academy products, bringing them through to the first team, and then, you know, dominating the Eredivisie, selling them on, etc. That's kind of how Ajax have been, and that's why I say, like, and I said this, but I think I've argued this before with Marcel on United View, where I said that I don't want, you know, Ten Hag to come in and play Ajax style football because this is not Ajax Football Club. But what I would like him to do is play Erik Ten Hag football, whatever the hell that might be. I remember last season, I kept hearing about triangles, you know, with these, what, come on. Like, at what point do we start to really question it? And that's why I'm saying, let me just clear it up. I'm not Ten Hag out. I'm not going to say trust the process and trust the vision. I'm just being patient, but I am losing my patience. And I'm losing my patience more so with the players. Do you guys think, and this is a question out to you lot, and I'm going to actually pin your comments, so let me know your answers. Do you guys think that the manager is setting the players up and they are unable to execute what he's asking them? Or is the manager just not putting out correct tactics? Because I don't know which one it is. Sometimes I feel like, you know, United we're creating chances, we just can't finish, or, you know, we manage to hold on to possession, but we can't get into the final third, and when we do get into the final third, we can't really execute anything. So that's not Ten Hag's fault, that's the players' fault. So at what point do you blame the manager, and at what point do you blame the players? I don't know. And all this nonsense coming out about the kits kind of make me laugh. Big up to Warren, says, yo, Mina, I can't lie, I've tuned out of United content, but always a pleasure to jump in and catch up with you and the other subs. Big up to Warren, man. If you guys don't want to watch men's, just watch the women's team. Just watch the women's team. Big up to Cab, says, hey, Mina, big up. Hope you prayed for us. If yes, amen. Right now, our team is really struggling. I did not pray for the club, I'm not going to lie, but I prayed for my subscribers, man. Big up to all of you guys. Bruno and Rashford shouldn't start today. We're going to get into that. Because I'm interested to see what the kind of rotation will be with these players tonight. Big up Red Scare Claire, says, hey, Mina, I think the manager is slightly naive of the league, but I also think he's asking players to do more than they can. I've seen the players already complaining about, you know, the intensity of training sessions, and they're saying that it's quite intense, and, you know, they get quite tired and all of this kind of stuff. It's like history's repeating itself. I swear, I feel like I've heard this story before. Like, and I know I don't really like to listen to, like, you know, leaks or whatever it may be. But what's the word? I feel like a lot of this stuff, I've heard it all before. I genuinely feel like I've heard it all before in terms of previous managers. A lot of them. Guys, let me know in the chat, please, if I'm buffering. I don't know if I'm buffering. Let me know if there's a little lag here in my streams. I don't think there is, but I have a feeling there might be, because I'm getting some red bars on my screen. The tactics are right. The players just stop executing them when the individuals miss chances. We create 2 chances missed, then stop what was working. I don't know if it's the fact that we stop, like, I think it's like, I don't know if it's confidence. Sometimes I think, is it down to confidence? Is it down to the fact that, because back to this whole fitness thing and the players complaining about, the intensity of training sessions or whatever, you see the levels of fitness kind of fall within, 60, 65 minutes into the game. It kind of drops. You'll see first half FC, we create chances throughout the first half, and then second half, just we kind of just lose it. We just kind of lose it. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm over analyzing it, and I'm trying to not over analyze it, because I just feel like maybe we're just in the mud. Maybe we are just in the mud. Big up to Dead and Gone says, first, there are injuries. It's weird that people are ignoring that we have a makeshift first team. Secondly, we don't have a bench good enough to truly threaten our current first 11. I think this is a valid point. I think it's a valid point regarding the injuries. I think I think a lot of people overlook that, and I think Dead and Gone is right. The fact that, we've got, how many players we've had out? We've had Wan-Bissaka out injured, Luke Shaw's out injured, Varane just injured, then back, then injured, then back. Lisandro Martinez out injured. Surprisingly, Anthony Martial's been fit all season. That's a shock. But again, Mason Mount's been out injured. So there's been a lot of injuries, and especially that, I think that back line is the biggest, because we could talk about the chances that we're creating and the lack of clinicalness in front of goal. But that backline has been changing so much. That backline has been changing so much. I think, guys, the buffer is down to YouTube. Big up to, I think Mike mentions it in the chat saying there's a buffer in, but apparently it's European YouTube issues. Apparently YouTube's been having issues the last week. I wouldn't know, but a few people were telling me that there would be, there's been issues with live streams, etc. So I do apologize if you lot are experiencing any buffer. Just know it's not on my side. I didn't download any dodgy softwares this time around. But yeah, I agree. I think people overlook the whole injury thing. In regards to the bench, that's a valid point, because I think a few of these players in our starting 11 right now would actually be our bench players, because you look at our back line. Can I just say, Lindelof, disgraceful performance at left back the other night. Absolutely disgraceful left back performance. Absolutely. I can't. Oh my god, I can't remember what goal it was. To see him jogging back absolutely made me livid. It made me livid. And you know what? A lot of those players should not be starting, and we know it's down to injuries. But you guys know my stance all the time. If you are called upon, perform. If you are called upon, just give it 100%. And I feel like a lot of players are not threatened. Marcus Rashford knows that he is not getting dropped, and that's really frustrating, because I think it's like every other interview or every other press conference that Ten Hag does, he backs Rashford, which you want a manager to do, but the manager's so adamant that Rashford is gonna hit form, he's gonna kick off, etc. But I'm sorry, at this point, when you're hindering the performance of the team a lot more than you benefiting them, at what point do you kind of say, okay, well, let's bench him? For example, today I think it would be a reasonable game to bench Rashford. Newcastle, I don't think are going to have the strongest team. Bear in mind, I think they got Arsenal on the weekend as well, whereas we got Fulham. Not that I'm saying Fulham's going to be an easy game, but they've got a top 6 battle against Arsenal, so they are going to try save a lot of their players for that game. So they will. I assume Newcastle will rotate. Today, if I do not see Rashford and Bruno rotated out of the starting 11, then I swear, me and Ten Hag, we got to have words. Martial is fit, turning up for training before time. And he's still not getting a chance. What more does Erik Ten Hag want him to do? Go back to the clean-shaven, bold trim he has. He wants him to be bold just like him. We do need to question the midfield. We have our strongest midfield, and they've been poor. I back Amrabat heavy, and he's been underwhelming. You know what? I've been getting cooked in it. I've been getting cooked by some people. Yeah, the whole Amrabat thing, and I don't think Amrabat's been as bad as people think he is, but I think maybe to the standard that people were expecting, he's not been as amazing. However, what I will say is that playing in front of, I don't want to say it, but that backline, and this is not any way me criticizing. I just think basically, I think Amrabat would be a lot better off having the likes of someone such as Lisandro Martinez behind him in comparison to Johnny Evans, etc. And one thing I would say is that I think Amrabat would do better in a double pivot, but not with a double, like not two sixes playing together. I think he'd play better with a 6 and then an 8 next to him that plays like a bit forward, a bit, basically in the Moroccan system. Unahi was playing in that role next to him, but he was playing a bit forward and then he'd get back and help in defensive transitions. So I think he would be better in that instance. Now, obviously, it's reported actually that United might want to sign. They might want to sign Amrabat permanently. I don't know why they're thinking about transfers just yet. But one thing I will say is that Casemiro is going to be gone, guys. Casemiro is going to be gone. If we don't keep Amrabat, there's a lot of other players in the market that we could go out and get. That's all I have to say. But one thing I will also say as well is the fact that because we've not been great, every player is kind of under the microscope, which is why people are pointing out Amrabat's performances a lot more. For example, let's talk about Anthony. I saw a list today, guys, and I have to bring it up because I couldn't believe it. I think it was from 442. I think they're a website, a magazine, whatever. And they listed the top 20 worst signings of Manchester United ever. Yeah. Number 1 was Bebe. Can't really argue that. But number 2, it was Paul Pogba. Anthony was not on that list of top 20 worst signings. I don't know how he was not on that list. Obviously, all the players that we've signed 2014, 15, 16, etc., they were on that list. Schneidlin, Falcao, Di Maria, Sancho, number 9, Alexis. Guys, I've completely lost my patience for Anthony. I've actually lost my patience with. I've lost my patience with a lot of players. Actually, let me be honest. I've lost my patience with a lot of players. I've mentioned it here. Keegan says talk about Bruno disgrace. I already mentioned my stance on Bruno Fernandes. I think it's been a disgraceful season for him so far. If I'm being honest. But then again, I could also say that it's been a disgraceful season for quite a few players. You know who might get my respect, not my respect, but Harry Maguire. I wouldn't say he's been the best player, but for all the criticism he's had to put up with, for everything that he's had to put up with at his time at United, and the few games he's played this season, especially the full 90, it's not been too bad. Respect to Andre Onana, If it wasn't for him, I think we would have lost 7, 8, 9-0 on Sunday. I genuinely think that. He made some big saves. I look at this Anthony signing more and more and just think, how the hell, excuse my language, but how on earth did they allow us? Who signed off for Manchester United to spend 100 million euros on Anthony? The more I think about it, the FCA have to get involved at some point. I don't have the patience. I'm not one of them people where I'm going to be like, oh, Anthony, oh yeah, just wait a season. I was saying that with Sancho, but that saga's played out how it's played out. This Anthony thing, I don't see it working. I don't think he's a Premier League type player. I don't think he's a Manchester United type player. Ajax absolutely fleeced us for 100 million. They should be investigated by the FCA. Jakub Maguire has performed at a reasonable level. Says how bad we are. Yeah, it says more about how we've been rather than how he's been. The fact that he's been the more brighter players out of it. All the players on that list weren't needed. I understand Anthony not making that list. What I find funny is that I read an article to say that Manchester United will be on the market again next summer to buy a right winger. Guys, every other summer we've brought a right winger. We brought a right winger in Sancho. 2 years later, we brought Anthony, and now we're expected to buy another right winger. At this point, it's like, what do you do? What do you do at this point? How does Erik ten Hag turn this around, assuming that he's still in his job by next summer? I think he'll still be in his job. I don't think he'll be sacked. Do I think he'll? I think he will turn it around by getting results. I won't say they're going to be great performances, but I think he'll get the results that he needs to turn it around. And then after that, it's kind of like, oh, let's move on. I definitely think that he will be able to turn it around. If we get knocked out of Champions League, could be a different story. But right now, our Champions League hopes are pretty much still there. They're pretty much still there. So I think, I don't know, man. Call me crazy. I think Ten Hag will turn it around. I think he'll do enough to see the season out. He'll do enough to see the season out and get another kind of summer transfer window under his belt. Do I want him involved in terms of, signings? No. I would like the recruitment department to deal with that. However, if he is still, assuming that he's still in a job, how do you think Erik ten Hag turns this around? Is there players that United need to get rid of? Is there players that United need to replace? Because I remember saying this last season, and I got ripped on United View. They were not happy, but I said that Varane had to be replaced. I said he had to be replaced like this summer. I think Casemiro needs to be replaced. I think obviously we need a winger. We still need another midfielder. I look at the likes of, wishful thinking, man, but I look at the likes of Bellingham and I'm like, oh my, what I would do to have a Bellingham in my team. What I would do to have Jude. I'll take Job at this point. I will take Job Bellingham at this point. The good news is that Kobbie Mainoo is back in match day preparation, or with the under 21s, and he's expected to be back in first team training. But how does Ten Hag turn it around? Do you guys see him? This is the question that should be asked. Do you guys see actually Ten Hag turning it around? This summer. Before this summer, sorry. Do you see him turning it around at any point throughout the next 3, 4, 5 games? Do you see that? Bear in mind, we've got we got Bayern Munich. I think our last Champions League game at home is Bayern Munich. And I can imagine that being a must-win game for us. I can see that being a must-win game for us. I don't see I don't see it being anything else than a must-win. We're currently playing to Maguire's strength. He's at the level that I expect from a third-choice bench player. People are trying to grade him on a curve, though. I think people are just hoping, just wishful thinking there. In terms of hoping that he continues to play well. I want him to continue playing well. That doesn't mean I want him in the starting lineup, but when he plays well, that means it's more likely that we'll win or we'll get a clean sheet. Maguire playing is the reason there's such a big gap between our front line and the back line. He's too slow to play any higher. Damn. Big up to Steffi in the chat, says we all like a comeback story, but I'm still not over the points we have lost because of Jacob. Oh, come on, guys, leave Jacob alone. Erik ten Hag needs to replace Casemiro, Varane, Eriksen, and Martial, and he needs to get Maguire wages, Scott bring in funds, Sancho, Donny out. I don't know how much we get for Sancho. I think we'd get like 20, 25. Like, based on how all of this has played out, I don't see a team willing to pay anything between like 45 to 50. I'm trading my partner for Musiala. Listen, I would, if United said today, we want to buy Musiala. Do you guys want to invest? I will sell my house. I will sell my house and everything inside it. Buy him. I will contribute to it. I saw that he was actually linked to a potential move to Liverpool, which I will be absolutely heartbroken. Jamal Musiala, if you don't know, is one of my favorite players. And I will be absolutely heartbroken if he goes to Liverpool. If he stays at Bayern Munich, I'll be okay with it. I'll be happy with it. I wouldn't be happy with it, but I'll be okay with it. But if he goes to Liverpool, I will be absolutely gutted. I will absolutely be heartbroken. I take 25 million for Sancho because including wages, that's 45 million to the budget. Big up to the Aura Explorer with the the mathematics, that's some serious mathematics. He's saying, what, Sancho's on 20 million a year? Is that what he's saying? Sancho's on 20 million a year. I'd like to see a Kobe and Amrabat as midfield pair. I would too. I would like to see that too. I was really impressed with what I saw of Kobe. Obviously, you lot know I'm not putting too much into my hopes with Kobe Mainoo because I don't want to put too much pressure on an academy kid. But dare I say, he kind of looked like Pogba to me. Don't shoot the messenger, guys. I'm just saying what I saw. He kind of reminded me of Pogba. I don't know. I was seeing a bit of Pogba-esque. You know, I know you lot don't want to hear that. I know you guys don't want to hear that, and I'm sorry. Big up to Kadeem says, I think you guys will turn your season around. I'm hoping we turn our season around. Because if the season continues to play out the way that it's been, the way that it started, it will be a difficult. I think it will be a difficult season. It will be a very different. It's like we started from the high of Ten Hag's first season, and then it's kind of like a low in his second season. Hopefully, that means third season will be a high if they allow him to have a third season. I'd sell Anthony, Rashford, Varane, Sancho, Bruno, Maguire, Martial. I don't see the club selling Rashford and Bruno. I know that we've been critical of them. I know that there's been questions, but both of them, have been. I think they are the. What's the right term? No, I wouldn't say they're the faces of the club, but they are the biggest stars of the team. So I don't see it happen. I don't see it happening. Maybe one or the other. I definitely don't see them selling Rashford for some reason. I don't see that. Big up to Ravi, says Mina. What style of football do you see under Erik ten Hag? I think what we see is counter-attacking football. That's the impression I get. That's what he's going for. Is it because of the fact that he doesn't have the players to do what he wants to do? He can't do what he wants to do for whatever reason. I don't know, but it's fully counter-attacking football. And if anybody believes otherwise, let me know. Let me know if anyone believes otherwise. That because I think it's fully counter-attacking football. And I don't see anything else. Before or after the hyenas? Before the hyenas and all the other stuff, the doping and being held for ransom by his brother, all of that stuff. Big up to Show in the chat, says Erik ten Hag won't get a third season because this club sacks managers when they don't make Champions League. I mean, that's true. Do you think so? There's really only two ways for United to make Champions League football next year. It's if they win the Champions League this year or if they finish in the top 5. And what do you guys think is the most realistic to happen out of the two? Because I see I don't see maybe top 5. I think maybe finishing top 5, I can see that happening. But it's one of them ones where, similar to last season, December onwards, we just have to be 3-point collectors non-stop. And just hope that other teams start dropping points, etc. But the only ways that we will be in Champions League next year is to win Champions League. And you know what? If we crash out of Champions League, I've seen a lot of people saying it. If we crash out of Champions League this year, I've seen a lot of people saying that they don't want to be in Europa League. They don't want Europa League football. They'd rather just crash out, finish rock bottom of the group, and just focus on whatever else is there to focus on outside of Europe, i.e. domestically. Which I kind of get it. I kind of understand that sentiment. I, for the life of me, do not want to hear the Europa League anthem. I wouldn't mind hearing the one on United View. But I don't want to hear the Europa League anthem. That's for sure. I hate that logo. I hate the anthem. I hate the camera angles on TV when you're watching it. The camera angles just always look different to Champions League. But yeah, it's interesting. I predicted us finishing 5th place at the start of the season, and I take that. I remember saying that. It's so funny, I'm gonna have to do a video reacting to my predictions. I'm gonna do it at the end of the season, obviously. But I remember saying that. We have to have a deep run in the Champions League. We have to finish top 3 in the league and challenge for the league. And I also said that, what was it? I said that we had to win 1 silverware that was a relevant trophy, so like FA Cup or something. My stream keeps buffering mad. Yes, guys, I'm sorry. It's not me. It's YouTube. YouTube's moving brazy. YouTube is moving brazy, guys. I apologize. It is not me. It's YouTube. I promise. It's not me. It's not me. Fifth place is Champions League. Exactly. From next season onwards, it will be Champions League football. Yeah, I think it's from next year. It's the new Champions League style tournament, whatever. YouTube, man, sort it out. I thought they would have sorted it out by now. I know they've had the problem. I knew they had the problem earlier in the week. I thought it was sorted out by now. Neither are realistic, in my opinion. We'll finish 6th or 7th. That's crazy. 6th or 7th is kind of crazy. That's a bit harsh. I can't lie. That's a bit harsh. The way Erik Ten Hag lies, I don't think he's bold. He might have a great head of hair if he lets it grow. What are you saying? He's bold by choice. He shaves it all off. But yeah, guys, that was meant to be just a quick stream. Obviously, YouTube's being a bit disgraceful at the moment with their lag and whatnot. It's been moving crazy for live streams for the last week or so. Hopefully, they can sort it out in time for the weekend because there's a lot of content coming. There's a lot of content coming. A lot of content coming. As you lot know, United will be playing 8:15, so in about an hour and a bit. I might should I stay live on? No, I don't want to stay live to see the lineups because I know I'm just going to be annoyed. Big up to everyone. As always, got live streams coming tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You guys know what it is, man. Be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you lot think. Of course, join the Discord server. It's up and running now, guys. I promise you, it's up and running now. So make sure you guys join the Discord server. Link is in the bio below in this video. Be sure to hit the like button on your way out. You lot know what it is, man. This was just a quick stream to say I'm back. Big up to everybody. Of course, we got streams coming throughout the week. You lot know what it is, man. Until next time, guys. Predictions in the chat. I'm going to say 1-0 United just because I think it's going to be a crap game. Newcastle versus United. I just think it's going to be a difficult watch for both teams. If Newcastle come out strong, though, it's going to be a different story. But I'm going to say 1-0. We're going to scrape a win. We are going to scrape a win. That's all I have to say, man. Big up to everyone. Get your predictions in the chat on your way out, guys. Until next time, it's your girl, Mina. Peace.